Well, welcome to Farm and Ranch Management for the spring semester. I'm glad to have you. I'm coming to you from my studio. I'm sitting in front of my computer in my basement. My name's Todd Jones. Just to give you a little bit of a background on myself. I may have the look of somewhat blue collar. That's just because I am. I've taught at Casper College since 1988, which seems like a long time, but when I look back on it, it happened in a short period of time, if you know what I mean. Once you get to 60, as I am now, a little better than that, but life goes by fairly quickly. And so I've started several businesses over the course of my career, at the same time teaching some of the business management classes at Casper. I've been full-time. I've been an adjunct professor, part-time, and right now I'm back to adjunct. I took off about 16 years and ran several businesses along with the people that I hired and as a family. But so I have some of those experiences. What kind of businesses? Well, the majority of it has been in the outdoor recreational space. At least that's where most of our income was. Not always my total effort was put into that. I farmed, ranched, have a small place still. It's extremely small when you talk about modern agriculture. But those are the kinds of things that I'd like to discuss with you throughout this course, is that size doesn't always matter, especially with business. It's sometimes how you picture yourself and how you project yourself, and then how you perform the function of business. And never has there been a time in the business of our country where there was as much opportunity as you all have. And so I want to start out this class with that. I'm an optimist by trade. I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be. And I just look at opportunity around every corner. I see each one of you as having a tremendous amount of opportunity that is presented in front of you. Sometimes it does matter how you approach it and how you perform, and it matters completely, actually. So just to discuss a few things about this course that I'd like you to be set up for success. One thing in business, and this is a business management class, so we're going to talk about this a lot, is leadership. And you may not enter the business world with a position of leader, so take that into account. But it may be a time that your time just has come yet, where you have your own business or you're put in charge of business. So this is a time for you to learn, experience, do your trial and error and all that sort of thing in order to be able to lead. Management is all about leadership. So we're going to talk about a few things that maybe you're going to shake your head and go, why are we talking about this sort of thing? Well, this is not what I would say is a course that we're going to go delve into some subjects that typically are not even talked about within a business management course, because these are some of the things that I found in the hurdles of running businesses that were not covered and are extremely important. How do you lead people? How do you navigate gossip as it's running rampant through your organization? How do you slow it down? How do you stop it? How do you start it and minimize it? Because it will always be there. Those kinds of things are really, really important, because it keeps us from gaining the momentum we need in order to run an effective business and to lead people. That's just one of the things. How meetings are extremely important, but I will be the first one to tell you that I have participated in, been in charge of, gone to many, many meetings that have been absolutely counterproductive. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to bring in some invited guests, some podcasts that I've discovered on the internet, to be honest with you. You might call that copying, but that's another way to learn, that I can interject some people that can explain it in a far greater simplified way that can be understood by a vast audience. And so for some of these subjects, I'm going to bring some people in that are going to talk about it, and then I'm going to have you think about it. Some of you are at different places in your career paths, and that's the amazing part about this class for me, is that I have a lot of 18 to 19-year-olds, but I also have those that are already on their career paths, their business paths. They've started ventures, they're farming, they're ranching, they're regular citizens. Some of them want to farm and ranch. But most of these principles that we're going to talk about are going to work in any business. And that's the thing that's so exciting about some of the subject matter, if we've looked at our syllabus at all. One of the major things that I'm going to give you an opportunity to do within this class is to think about the word procrastinate or procrastinator. Now, you can look it up in the Journal of Psychology, but it's just putting off things that maybe should be done today that for the future. And what I want you to think about is the fact that I'm going to give you the chance to not procrastinate. I want you to think about this thing. I'm the greatest procrastinator of them all. But one of the things that you can't be, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, and I rather than put on my farmer, rancher, my outfitter cap, when we're talking in most of these realms, we can learn from each one of these career paths because of their similarities within business. But the number one thing of being an entrepreneur is that we put things in place now. And in order to capitalize on our energy that we put in, we have to continually re-input. That means that we actually have to be anti-procrastination in our nature if we want to be successful as an entrepreneur. Now, you add into this is the fact that many of the things we're going to do, we're going to actually learn from trial and error. After being in this space for many, many years, I have found out actually I could gain quicker and better momentum is if I actually learned from other people's failures rather than implementing the trial and error method to everything I had to learn. So keep that in mind as we go through some of these lessons, is the fact that you can actually catapult your career and your business by learning from other people's mistakes. And I'm the first one to admit that actually success is built on a mountain. And I had to steal this from somebody else. You'll probably recognize who it is once we get into the course. But your success is built on a whole lot of your own failures. And if you have the ability to learn, which you and I do, then you can actually capitalize on other people's failures. Not in a parasitic way, but in a way to catapult your particular business, an aspect of business. And you're going to have to mold it and shape it so that you can have your own originality, and how it works for you is not going to be exactly how it works for somebody else. But one of the things that I don't want you to be, because it will kill you in business, is to be a procrastinator. Okay? That means that you do things you can do today. not say, I'm going to get to that. Somebody emails me and it only garners a quick response, I'm going to jump on that thing and get back to them. If somebody texts me with a question and I know the answer and it's going to be short, quick, and simple, I'm going to get back to them right now. If it's a long, drawn-out question that I have to think about, then I'm going to immediately, at the first time horizon that I have, in order to research it so I can give a good answer, and then I will get back to them. So I don't perpetuate this procrastination. Okay, how does this relate to this course? Okay, it relates to business. You'll never be a great business person if you don't indoctrinate yourself with this anti-procrastination thesis. Okay, how does it relate to the success in this course? Okay, I'm going to kind of force you. Nobody likes to be forced. Okay, I understand that. But here's a couple of rules. We all actually operate better if we have a couple of rules. Number one, all forum discussions are only germane during the week they're offered. Okay? Yes, it would be better if you went through the lesson and then answered the question on the forum. It will not be to your advantage to get to the lesson and answer the forum later on. The reason for forums is so that you can interact more than with me, with your classmates that have different experiences and have different places that they're at, that those questions are coming from. So, forums, and this is a set rule, you will not get any credit for actually posting answers after the fact. Now, I will throw this at you, is that I'm going to be fairly easy on your answer, although I want it to be thoughtful, okay? But I'm going to be fairly easy on your question when you do post it. And I want you to actually comment in a kind way, where you have some perspective of where the other individual is coming from, but I want you to interact somewhat and within the forum space, and I want you to do it within the week or the lesson time frame of that week. So that's when you'll get credit. A best case scenario, if you miss a forum, is that you actually do answer it, do think about it, even if you do miss it. If you do procrastinate your forums, just be warned that you won't get any credit for it. Okay? Number two, quizzes have to be taken during the week of the lesson. Okay? Is there grace? Everybody always wants to, a month later, can you open up that quiz again? In business, we get a quiz every single day, and we have to take the quiz, whether we're ready or not. And you have a week to do it. So I don't want you to procrastinate it. You will do better on the quiz if you have actually studied the materials. There's no doubt about it. But I want that quiz done during that week. Something that may be a little bit different than other courses that you may take online, such as this one, is that our week starts on Saturday and ends on Friday, so that we actually have a schedule. We would never get anywhere if we didn't give you a schedule. Many other online courses actually start on Monday and end on Sunday. I want the ability to get in, answer some questions, and that sort of thing. I'm setting you up for success in this fact that I will offer these quizzes at least a week in advance, if not further. So you can take on this anti-procrastinator theme, hat, whatever you want to call it. You can terrorize it if you would like, if you really want to get ahead. And that sort of thing. And that's one of the things that being able to move and change and do the things you have to do in business, you have to be thinking ahead. Sometimes you're wrong when you're thinking ahead. But if you haven't thought ahead, then you don't have that ability to switch and change in the ways that you need to, and you don't have the agility. And in this course, if you will actually go in and get ahead, and I'll give you the chance to get ahead 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance at times. So one of the things, we're going to use a couple of courses. One of them is the Foundations Collegiate course from Dave Ramsey. Just a heads up, I've been a financial peace instructor several times and been teaching with his methods for 15, 16 years, implemented in our business and in our personal lives. And I know they work. Now, it doesn't mean I agree with everything that Dave Ramsey says, okay? And one of the things that you may take away, and many of my students in the past actually have, is that I am completely against any kind of debt. And that could be, that's one of the furthest things from the truth. I do think that actually when we have too much or the wrong kind of debt, that we really implement problems install problems into our life and anxiety into our life that we don't need. So there's a different way of looking at debt. And there may be what some people call healthy debt, good debt versus bad debt. There definitely is some of that. But how you actually think about debt is an important aspect of business. And for your personal life or survival, the Proverbs, and we're going to use, I just can't get around it because it's one of the best, it's where I'm coming from anyway, but it's one of the best books on business and personal finance is the Bible itself. Now, a few of you might take offense to that, but even if you only look at it in a historical nature and in a self-help nature, then it's got some wonderful, wonderful advice, if nothing else. If you go back to Proverbs, it talks about that the borrower is slave to the lender. You can't get away from that. And if you know that, then, and have experienced that, it's pretty hard to get around. Until you pay your debt off, you will always be enslaved to another person, another organization. It can add some complexity to your personal and business life, and that aren't necessarily good for you or your business. So even if you just think of it in that realm, then I think it's worthwhile. And I in my own personal spiritual beliefs, it's the only thing. It doesn't have to be that way. Maybe you're not where I'm at, quite possibly. And I would absolutely love to talk to you about that if you want to. If you want to leave it on just the course material we're going to talk about, but there's some really, really solid advice within those books. So take that into account. So we'll talk about it to some. Dave Ramsey brings it up in his course, and I think they're very much germane how we treat one another in the whole scheme of things. One of the things that I didn't realize when I first got into business is that biblically, spiritually, that we are to serve one another or to love one another. Another way to put it, I know you guys out there that one's kind of pretty hard to take until you figure it out. How can we do that better? If you figure that one out, and I haven't got it all figured out either, but if you get that one figured out, you're going to be a great business person. That's just an insight in the whole thing. And might even allow you to be less of a procrastinator. Okay, a couple other things with those forums and quizzes is that, and assignments. Okay, forums and quizzes are to be done that week, whether you're ready or not. Life comes at you, whether you're ready or not. Okay, you can always ask for grace. Don't expect it to be granted, a grace period, but don't procrastinate asking. Don't ask me a month later, is what I'm saying. Okay? Procrastinators, and I understand that many people have their own lives. I mean, I have people that have taken this course that have a ranch or a farm, have a profession. Last semester I had a young lady. She's in her 30s. Had been a cop, or is a cop, police officer. So she's got those two things. She's married with 2 kids. She's got a whole lot of things done. You know, one thing is she got a 90, one of the highest scores in my class, 98%. And was also taking some other courses. So if you have an extra activity, and I understand, I was a D1 sports enthusiast. I was involved in sports at the collegiate level. I was a livestock judger as well. We were traveling all the time with all those activities. And that's one of the things, is that you can't be a procrastinator to be successful in that and your schoolwork. Okay? And we'll never get this course done if you put things off. So that's one of the reasons I give you the ability to get ahead. Denver's coming up soon for you livestock judgers. Some of you are rodeo athletes. You know your schedule for those things. So plan ahead and don't procrastinate. You can get ahead in this class, especially. It might be more difficult in other classes. I understand that, but not for this class. I don't want this one to be the reason that you procrastinate. Okay? Assignments, I will give you an extra week. Don't allow this, for you procrastinators out there, don't allow this for your procrastination nature to take over. All right? It's only worth 75% up to in that particular assignment or lab. Those labs and assignments that I give you, I'll give you an extra week, but it's only worth 75%. If you if you're a salesperson and you call somebody back after they've already made a decision on the product they're going to buy, you miss out on it. So I'm actually giving you an automatic week for up to 75%. What an opportunity, right? Okay. That's probably enough to introduce the course. I'm excited about the course. This is one of my favorite classes to teach. I think and it takes a community, but in this course, you could grow quite a bit, depending on where you're at, in the things of personal finance, business finance, and management, and some of the other things that we'll talk about. So welcome. I always, I'm like an open book. If you call me, I will get back to you as soon as I can. This is the only course that I teach for most of the semester. So I'm involved in a couple business ventures and that sort of thing, but don't think that should be a part of your decision of whether you will contact me or not. Contact me. You can text me. You can email me. Or you can call me. I will be able to add some context to your questions if you do call me. And I always wonder sometimes if I text you whether it, if I'm just going to give you a short answer, both email and text. But and if it's a yes or no, then that's not a very difficult one to answer. So let that, layer it in as far as how you contact me. But I enjoy visiting with you on the phone, getting to know you, and also adding some context to the questions that you might have. And you should have some questions. I mean, those people that have been in finance all their lives actually rely on some people that know a little bit more or a lot more than they do in order to be successful. So parlay that into this course if you would, because that's where I'm coming from on this end of things. So, all right, over and out. This is a long enough video for you to listen to, and we'll get this posted, get this started, this class started. I wish you all the success, not only in this course, but in your other courses and your business careers. You go on out there into the world, because there is a bunch of stuff out there that just is calling you.